Lords and ladies, welcome back to MyStreet. 5 years later, I forgot to do an intro, so here we are. Yeah, someone actually said last time that I should actually either make or commission an intro for 5 years later. Yeah, probably should. I mean, not gonna lie, we're basically like at the end, practically. So, but you never know. Would be a decent send off. I just remembered that right now as I was preparing this video, not gonna lie. It's weird because with 5 years later, the fact that they spread out so much and it's no longer like every 3 days, I think about it less and less until today, obviously, because after the VidCon video that we watched of Aphmau's, if you're watching this on Twitch, you'll remember that. Watching on YouTube, I remember it too, but it's gone now. And yeah, like I spent the entirety of today basically just watching Aphmau videos and almost nothing else whenever I was watching stuff, obviously, when I wasn't doing other things. But yeah. And not to say that was the VidCon thing was immediately, but yeah, it's interesting. You know, Aphmau ends up revitalizing herself in my mind all the time. Where if you go, there was several times in the past, like when when I had that horrible breakup with one of my exes, who was tangentially connected to Aphmau in a way that I won't disclose. And yeah, it took a long time before I was like able to watch her videos again at all, which made it so that the end of even before we broke up, actually, yeah, like the end of 2019, there's still some videos that I completely forgot to watch, and it was for that reason. And then lo and behold, immediately after that, there was the 2020 era, and that was too late for the most part. The modern Aphmau stuff had seeped in. But now I don't even mind that so much because of the VidCon thing. And then I know the modern Aphmau thing once was another reason, but watching MyStreet as a nostalgia thing. But then 5 years later, such a routine thing, it's weird to go back to actual MyStreet again, at least most of the time. And then the VidCon thing happens, and then yeah, it's weird. It goes back and forth, but yeah, there's something about Aphmau videos that just keeps people returning to them. I mean, if anything, that's probably what hasn't destroyed the older fan base, like I thought that would actually happen. Who knows? Maybe I should ask people what their Aphmau stories are. See if that can be a thing that people talk about. Because you never know. Anyway, that's enough for this. It's your girl, Sicky Ghostie. That's a rap name if I've ever heard one. Okay, enough soppiness. Time to see the fallout of some characters who have just died. Or have almost died. Yeah, isn't that just a fun icebreaker after I just dropped a bombshell like that? Clearly, I am the master of segues. Anywho, we'll be joined by Aiden in a bit, but for now, let's get a head start. And yes, Ghosty, I know you're the only one in the chat, but I say this for the people who will be watching this as a VOD later on YouTube. Because again, those videos perform exceptionally well by my channel standards, so needless to say, you know, a handful of people are going to see this eventually, just not right now. But hey, if you want to actually watch this sooner, then go ahead and follow my Twitch, which I will probably forget to link on this video. But in case you wouldn't want to know, my Twitch username is another Jacob Butter, all together, no like capital letters or anything. If you're interested, and of course, I say the time that I'm going to be streaming. Well, I'm streaming at the end of these anyway. It's usually I start at 10 p.m. whatever British time I happen to be in at that moment, GMT or BST, which coincides with 5 p.m. EST. But yeah, that's enough for now. No need to self-plug after that point. Let's go ahead and start. I have a combination of popcorn and tortilla chips, and of course milk. Oh, and I forgot to mention as well, I've been given the the all clear from the doctor. So if this is your first 5 stream I'm seeing with my arm free again, that is why. It's not healed, but I've been told to take off this thing and, do some of these, couple of these, exercise it as I can, essentially. But no one cares about that for right now. That you care about the video. So let's watch it. Ah, yes, in media res, let's go.
Listen up. I know all.
Okay, that was really clever, seeing like all the people who are here at this point. Actually, wait, I should have made a note of who they were, because of what happens after this point. Let me just give a second. Okay, so we've got Sylvana here. Oh, and Ziana. Guy and Nate. And Kai. Okay. Depending on where they are when the rest of this episode happens, I might have to bring up a few of them again.
Listen up. I know.
Also, where are Kai's friends? Are they not around? I guess they were out of focus, but I didn't recognize any of them there. Interesting.
All of you want to leave. The second we'll open the gates and allow everyone to make their way south to the boat. Everyone needs to remain calm and move in an orderly fashion.
That does kind of make sense, because whenever like a huge mob ends up crowding things like that, they end up just, trampling each other. There's been disasters that have occurred because of that. So the Guardian forces, for once, are doing their actual job.
What do we do when they get there? There are no boats.
Doesn't matter. They won't get there.
And I take it back, never mind.
We're opening the gates. Begin moving slowly.
Sir, we've opened the gate. Your witnesses are moving into position.
Perfect. Make sure no one splits off from the group. No one can.
Now I think about it, we haven't seen, as you know, we haven't seen Michael and Travis's body as of right now, but yes, we have. That was like the whole cliffhanger. But I mean, we'll say is like I was going to point out his voice coming out here. If someone forgot that, they might be surprised when they see him, when they hear his voice coming out of Travis's mouth.
Can be wandering around until after he's captured.
Yes, sir. We will guide them into the rendezvous point. Over and out.
Oh, I forget what I just said. Yeah, he returned his body, but now he's remanifested himself. He should have stayed with Travis's form, quite frankly.
Come here.
Yes, sir.
Travis. It's been so long since I've switched bodies again.
It's been so long since I lost my son.
So much easier to get to than your father.
Which is interesting, because his father was sharing his body and going back and forth from Michael until now. Like, really?
He didn't have anyone he cared about when I took over.
Probably apart from his own son, potentially? Question mark?
Do you actually like her?
Also, hold on. What happened to Travis's mum? Because I'm pretty sure he's mentioned her a couple of times in the series.
Love her? Or did you just want to use her?
Okay, two things. One, interesting that he's in the suit right now. And two, his eyes are no longer green, which is the first time that we've seen this in the actual show. I forget if in the mini games they did that, because I remember there's a Never Have I Ever video where Travis was like, "Oh yeah, well I'm an actual grey," he just thought, he just seemed to, gaslight the audience that he had grey eyes the entire time. Except no one fell for it, because, for crying out loud, the green eyes connected to Travis was like a huge thing for like 2 whole years by this point. As you know, 1 year, because Emerald Seeker was 2017. So yeah, so I guess now that he's being used as the vessel, in his own mind, he doesn't have the same like physical remnants of the magic that was inflicted on him, I suppose. Rather than the effects becoming permanent. Unless that is what happened. If the effects became permanent and the Forever Potion was somehow delayed, but it doesn't seem to work like that. The other potions all seem to work on a time of like, being absorbed into your bloodstream or something. It was just but this was triggered specifically. I wonder if that was engineered in some way, or if it was just a case of it being a spell and the green eyes are just remnants of magic or not. That's one theory I never actually pulled off. Seeing the number of people compared to what's upcoming, a small percentage of those people will make it through. I mean, that's fair. I did do a head count back when I reviewed this the first time when it first came out. But yeah, I do remember that some of those people that I just pointed out do end up appearing later, and that was why I thought it was worth committing them to memory for right now. Oh, and the second thing, of course, is he's in the suit.
We can have so much fun together. Don't you want to have fun with her?
I want to have fun.
Girls just want to have fun, eh, Caitlin?
Of course you do.
Such a terrible thing to say.
So much strength.
It's almost like that was the plan.
And so pretty. Caitlin, your father never knew what we did to you. Is she all you care about?
Hold on, is he talking to both of them at the same time? Can Travis see what he sees? Because otherwise, it just seems like he's talking like that's some incredible mental discipline to think something in your head and then have to say something else.
What about your friends? Do you want to know what happened to them?
Please stop.
Oh, so he doesn't see it because he would have known.
They're all going to die because of you. And if you get any smart idea...
I feel like Terry would have just been the same here. I don't think it particularly mattered to him where he was. It just, I guess he discovered Gareth and Caitlin through Travis, and that was really what major thing happened. But then that wasn't Travis's fault. That was actually Lucinda and Kim.
I won't hesitate to take her away from you too.
Sir, it's time. He's almost there.
Doll, it's time for you to dress up for me. I'll need you ready for your big part in the show.
Aw, I want to stay with you though.
Don't worry. You always will.
You stupid potato. Again, every time they bring up that line, gotta say it. Oh, speaking of Aaron, I suppose. Okay, is it me or is Aaron on a green screen right now? Because I just spent the entire most of yesterday recreating walking cycles in Gacha Life 2. So I notice when a character's not bobbing up and down like they normally would. I know that in Minecraft that's not how they normally do. But also he seems to be walking at like a slower speed than the background is moving at. Yeah, and the background is like slowly moving downwards as well. It's like it was creating a different shot and they just had Aaron. Yeah, again, Aaron must have been on a green screen for that. Why not just have him walk? Okay, alright, fine. Thanks, Ghostie. I'm not going crazy. I'm glad. Why did they do that? They just forget to film that shot, and they had to, and they decided, okay, now just stick him there. We can't fly to that particular part of the server right now. The video's got to come out. Not knowing, of course, that we will soon get to an even longer gap between episodes than previously. Look at his legs, they aren't moving. There is also that. Okay, back to normal. I think they tried to cover up by filming him from, like, the waist upwards, but you still saw some of his legs. This is unrelated, but I just saw the APHTV blooper video of when Ian talks to his werewolves and says, "Oh, we're gonna have a night on the town on me," and then and then they have a whole day at the Starlight Park celebrating the death of Aphmau.
Guards! Werewolves! Over there on the bridge!
I love the voices the extras do sometimes.
They are no harm. Keep moving.
The Ultima!
I said keep moving. They're fine.
Yeah, where's everyone else? Why is she the only one who's there moving? Was she first in line?
The look on his face was so worth the wait.
Now I'm wondering, actually. A thing for season 7 could be, like, the fallout on people's perception of werewolves, actually. Because, yeah, it was strained already in season 5, but after this incident, the people who survived Starlight have now been, like, indoctrinated with, like, a huge prejudice of werewolves, especially after the events of this episode solidify what the Guardian Force have been telling them this whole time. And of course, not to mention the Ultima rumor being out to begin with, that's probably going to make matters a lot worse. Which basically means that for season 7 of MyStreet, if and when that does happen, Aphmau's going to have to go back to exploring the prejudice out of this line, but on a much more severe scale. Oh dear.
He was so shocked. He didn't even say a word. I wonder how quickly she died.
Yeah, he didn't say word because he wasn't written by Aiden in 2020, and we didn't need dialogue.
What did she say? Did she cry? Did he try to save her? Or maybe... maybe he put her out of her misery. I can't
You give Aaron too much credit there.
wait to see his face again. Don't worry, Michael.
Although, wow, could you imagine if that had actually happened? That was like I guess he could have done the Ultima Eyes thing, but wow. Imagine if Aphmau hadn't turned into a werewolf and that was like the time she saw Aaron's eyes. Because it all hurts. Oh my goodness. Okay, this scene wasn't written by BB, so we didn't get that.
I'll kill him. I'll kill him just like you said. You made me strong. And
I mean, you could have done it before in the cave. You had more than enough people. But I guess Michael told you not to do it then, which is why you went after Aphmau, I suppose. Which is, again, I guess was also interesting because... Oh, this is the Zag, you forget your place episode, isn't it? Where that Michael sort of had that also planned, because for Ian, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense considering what he wanted out of Aphmau. But oh well.
I won't fail you again.
I just realized that a lot of the fallout is Ian being a simp who couldn't move on. That was the catalyst for a lot of the stuff that happened. Interesting. You know, I think Ghostie and I were talking today about a few characters who, you know, were in love with Aphmau and didn't end up getting a second love interest, and how refreshing that was. Arguably, some of them needed a different love interest that wasn't Aphmau.
He's here.
Now I'm wondering what would have happened if Ian had a crush on a different character in Phoenix Drop High Season 2. But like in addition to Aphmau potentially. And as it turns out, that ended up becoming his Achilles heel or something, where even after his true colors were revealed, that crush persisted as like the only truthful thing that he was sure about. Obviously, it's a different werewolf or something. And then towards the end, that werewolf even turns on him, even despite being the alpha, and ends up being able to walk away because Ian can't bring himself to do anything. And then lo and behold, in shows Daniel and Aaron into the gym, and that whole challenge happens. I mean, ultimately wouldn't have affected too much of the plot, I dare say, but at least it would have. And of course, it can never happen because Kai Mao and Ian Mao was so important. But hey, that would just been an extra garnish on top of the season that we got.
Look! The Ultima! He's right there!
Okay, so I guess they know for a fact that he's the Ultima now as civilians. I mean, the Lycan family was suspected, but since they were suspected, even despite that, all werewolves were hunted, right? Which means that they weren't 100% sure. Now they're just like, oh, I guess the one werewolf that we actually need to be afraid of is here now. If only that lady from before thought of that.
What?
Right there on the bridge!
Was that Jess doing that voice? What?
John, we've got our eyes on the Ultima. He's on the bridge across.
Okay, no, it's not. Never mind.
The resort lake.
Move your team in to surround him.
Roger that. You heard the man.
It's the Ultima! He's right there! If they capture him, this is all over!
We can
I mean, you thought it was all over for a second because you thought you were going towards the boats, but yeah.
finally go home.
Lock him away! Just kill him! The world would be safer without him!
Also, yeah, this is the way to actually turn people's favor against them. Like, take away whatever they actually end up caring about, pin it on a different person, and then they have to, out of desperation, direct all their hatred to that one thing. They've collectively decided it is responsible rather than the bigger picture. Sort of what happened during the COVID years, where people needed something, like tangible to blame, and so the whole, like, I don't know, 5G towers and whatever other nonsense was going around started spreading, rather than the thing that was actually spreading. Obviously, I just realized as soon as I was saying that. It's interesting how these how these themes and metaphors actually end up manifesting even in stuff that hasn't yet happened. And that's the sign of a good series right there. With themes that are universal. In fact, that's what gives credence to fantasy as a whole. Because obviously, like a giant, like a werewolf with the power to turn others or, destroy you with one single look is not a thing that people can relate to directly. But the idea behind that's what I keep saying to people. There's lots of writers out there and I guess also audience members that feel like they need to have something realistic to reflect the actual situation. And sure, why not? If you end up seeing something that you identify with because you've gone through basically the exact same thing that the character has in the moment, then so be it. It's like I cannot get behind the show The Royal Family, but my dad adores it because that's what he grew up with. That's the kind of families that he ended up knowing during his formative years. But yeah, like that to him is something that is so real that like few things can compare. But then you have other stuff with fantasy where nothing is real and everything is, I guess to coin a phrase from him as well, ridiculous. But yet, because what they're dealing with is so universal and so applicable to so many different situations that have happened in the past and the future, sometimes the present as well, you end up getting a lot more out of it at times. And a lot more people do.
Give it up. It's your fault we're here. It's your fault they hate us so much.
Oh, another example here. As I was saying before about getting people to blame others, yes, Blaze is being controlled right now, but to be perfectly honest, like when I saw this for the first time, and still now, it reads to me like everything that he's saying right now comes from a place of truth. Unlike when Aphmau was under the throw of potion and everything that she said was a lie. Everything that Blaze says, at least in his mind, is true.
Out of my way, Blaze.
No, this ends here. No more lies. No more excuses. You betrayed us.
Okay, that seems like Blaze was remembering that. He wasn't there for that. That's just Aaron projecting, but the way that it reads is like that's the memory that Blaze is trying to conjure here. So I don't think this video does make too much sense. Yeah, there you go. That's why I love writing fantasy as well. Because yeah, I know that my experiences and anything and the stuff that I know does not reflect everyone. In fact, it reflects probably very few people. But if I can use, I don't know, a story about a girl with a dragon tail to give people the idea that they're not actually monsters based on whatever body issue they might have in the real world, then mission accomplished.
You're the monster.
And oh my goodness, was that the scene I remembered this whole time that we saw at one point Rachel in this pose right now, like about to take fire, but I thought that was that was something that from Michael's memory, because he would have been there for that. Aaron wasn't there for this. Aaron is just conjuring an image to himself of what he thinks had happened based on the news report. The news report of which was most likely faked. Because obviously they're not going to show this on live TV. Like, Lord no, of course not. So, yeah, like, as far as we're concerned, this never happened. Wow, and all this time, how did I not pick that up 5 years ago? How did I not realize? Good grief. Yeah, that leaves more credence to it. To my Rachel's alive theory.
And your entire family paid for your mistakes.
And yeah, again, like I said, Blaze is speaking the truth here. Like, that's just an objective fact. Yes, his entire family did pay. Well, I guess not really for his mistakes. I guess that's not really so true. It's mainly like their own mistakes most of the time. And I guess that was the final straw. And to remind people, in case people think that Blaze could have recovered from that as a werewolf, the demonic broadsword in Minecraft Diaries is specifically a sword used to vanquish werewolves. So yeah, Blaze being toast here makes perfect sense. That being said, like the way that he actually, like, I don't know, it seems like he took like being Aaron, he took that out on Blaze. I guess he didn't like get out of the way, but wow, of all this I'm of two minds about that, because on one hand, yes, he like just lost like everyone that was like extremely close to him. The last one of which in his own arms. That's gonna mess up anyone and make them volatile. But I don't know if it's like to the point of, again, vanquishing your friend or not, considering that he's, I guess, he did kind of like invite that. Yeah, he did kind of repeat exactly what Aaron already thought to himself. Maybe there was a bit more of Ian's influence on him at this point than I thought. I was mainly thinking about the fact that with episode 6, we got like the negative review, but like as in like I got them give a negative review to episode 6 specifically because of the whole deception and how this would end up, coming back, and Blaze had a right to be angry about that. But yeah, like thinking back to his actual words doesn't necessarily reflect that too much. This is why I watched these 5 years later, because I have hindsight now. Anyways, yes, welcome to Senior. Let's listen to Twitch, but on YouTube. It was really confusing. I was doing streamed earlier on Twitch, but not on YouTube. Yeah, so to clarify, MyStreet 5 years later streams on Twitch again, and Twitch.tv/ another Jacob Butter. I said that before. Because I started getting issues with streams getting taken down due to the content being identified, which, not that this series was meant to be copyrighted, it wasn't originally, but I think at some point the network that Aphmau is partnered up with or something ended up cranking down on that for some reason. So yeah, but and that's why I go straight to Twitch for these, and then I upload them as VODs on YouTube, because video uploads, they can run checks on those things. With a stream, they have to be much more strict, and therefore a lot of these other things go through. So yeah. Promise I take a photo of his. Yeah, so was Jacob Butter. That's why I'm another Jacob Butter on Twitch. I completely understand. Anyway, back to the animation. Oh right, I forgot. I was supposed to do the count, wasn't I? Yeah, because I think I actually did this. Yeah, another ball. That works too. Yeah, I've got what I was gonna say. Yeah, because when I reviewed this originally, back in 2018, I did like a death count, because I read like those 2 guards at the beginning. Not those 2 guards, there's 2 other agents, the ones operating the boat and the one who Agent R talked to at the start, and then and then I suppose as well you've got to count Aphmau right now, and then that guard there and Blaze. So that's 5, and I'm pretty sure I've missed out a few of them. Whatever I said in my old count is probably the correct answer, because I put that on screen after editing the video. And yes, this is my favorite series. And so far, this episode is reflecting that. They don't always, but this one does. Author places some of themselves into the book, but the reader takes some of their own perception as well. Precisely. Yeah. I said there. So yeah, I love people I can read other different interpretations into stuff. Except for Brenda being a bad person. I draw the line at that. Hee. Right. I'm in endless burnout, can't get out of it. Hey, who knows? Maybe my favorite show will inspire you. 6.
Don't shoot him!
They weren't. They were coming after him normally. What do you mean? No one was attacking him in that moment. What are you saying? Anyway. Seven. 8. That was to the neck. Wow. Someone cover that child's eyes, please. My goodness. Oh, he's staggering. Where'd you come from? Also, Ian, you might want to move out of the way because, you know, werewolf vanquishing sword, just saying. These dudes have mouths. That stretch real... Yeah. Well, welcome to Minecraft animation. They're not supposed to have mouths in general. Oh, they turned down his scream. That sounds a lot like the one that he had when he saw, like, you know, the black eye that Ian gave Aphmau in season 4, but just way quieter. I guess to not overpower the music, but no, overpower the music. Crying out loud, yeah, Jason, go for it. More like he constricted his eyes in this case, because dilation is outwards, but yeah. Yeah, we've actually had a hint towards there being a werewolf form ever since Phoenix Drop High Season 1, because there was a throwaway line at some point about them being in their werewolf form and that existing in the first place. For most people, just having the ears and tail out does not count as a werewolf form because that's their everyday. Most werewolves can't hide their ears and tail, or have to train really hard to do so, so that doesn't count for them. So I always knew there was going to be a wolf form somewhere, and it turns out that the person who shows that off first is indeed the Ultima. Survival high and comfort. Yeah, hey, why not? Okay, so his eye's turning red. Actually, well, hold on, is Aphmau just staring at the crowd now? That feels weird for him. I thought it was like the vicinity of them. 9, 10, 11. Again, I think those people must have just, died on sight because, again, unless you get to a hospital immediately, an Ultima Stare is going to eventually claim your life. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you joined at the right time. Wizard duel. And Blaze is just there in the corner. I guess that's one way to think about it, but then again, lots of wolves do sound like that. And that was it. Remember the battle between them in Phoenix Drop High Season 2? Where like, they had a whole intense confrontation that commented in Aaron showing his ears and tail for the first time and not even realizing it? Meanwhile, this one was like, a couple of jumps, get out of here. And that was it. Ian is gone. Long live Ian. Yeah, he drop kicked him in the face. Exactly. Other circling helicopters. And here's Caitlin all dressed up with Gareth, who I guess she picked up along the way. Did he not see Gareth on the other side of him? What was that about? Okay, how did she do that? Because jumping out of water like that with the amount of resistance that you would get, that is probably the greatest jump that anyone has ever pulled off in this entire series. And it comes down to the star volleyball player, of course. Oh, again, so yeah, you're very uninitiated in the ways of MyStreet, Bon. Yeah, werewolves, for the most part, like I said before, they exist in the form that Gareth here is demonstrating, with ears and tail deployed, and no other physical signs. Most of their werewolf traits come down to, their behavior and their social habits and such. And also their strength. But and the same thing applies to Mifwa, who are the same, but with cat form, cat ears and cat tail. This is the first time we've seen a wolf form emerge in the series, despite it being teased for, again, a good 2 years by this point. So yeah, that's what they normally look like. What you saw just now is very much the exception to the rule. Wow, Caitlin's pupils have dilated there. Actual dilation. And the true MyStreet form, no one can hear, despite having actual canine ears this time, and canine physiology to process them. And yeah, I guess I see what you're saying in the comments there. It's just disappointing considering how beaten up he's becoming, but I guess that's one interesting way to subvert something. Till our backs are breaking. Am I normally alone on these streams? It depends. Again, this is the stream that started the tradition of people asking to join the streams. Otherwise, I just don't tend to invite too many people. I did send a link to Aiden some time ago, because he said to me, I can join in like 15 minutes, and he said that 43 minutes ago. So by Aiden's schedule, he should be here soon. Oh, nice combo move. I mean, oh no, poor Aaron. Sorry this is happening to you. Bam.
Hey guys, Jess here, and I want to take a look at this awesome new poster, which is upside down. This is actually weird. Check out this awesome new poster. It has all your favorite characters that aren't dead yet.
Excuse you, Ian's on there. What are you talking about? Aphmau's on there. What are you talking about? Also, is that Melissa in the background? What are you talking about? Okay. The reason I love this is because one of my favorite things about MyStreet as an entire series is just the way that out of nowhere Jess will just insert something funny that's like a really objectively fine line to make you stop questioning the crazy or the dumb that might be happening in the moment. And boy, is this just a manifestation of that. This is what Marvel tries to do all the time and fails at. They can learn some lessons from Aphmau here. Also, this is why it's part of the video, so you can get through the dumb stuff like ad blockers. We got serious. And you know the best part? Whenever, like, you know, Jess watched these things back on streams or whatever, like on her own streams, she always would try and skip this part because she got so embarrassed about it. But hey, gotta sell your products, am I right? I mean, to be fair, it worked, but still.
Sort of. It's now available in my store. Also, if you guys are interested in supporting us and helping us create more content like Season 6, be sure to check out our Patreon. Links to everything are in the description down below.
And we will eventually create more content Season 6, even though I will then later go on to say that nothing can live up to it.
Take care, guys, and enjoy the show. Bye-bye!
Don't worry, we're back to the wolf. More bodies. I don't know if that's the same people or not. Yeah, might be adding another 4 to the counter. Oh, and Blaze too. 5, yeah. No, Blaze is already added. Yeah, no, 4. Oh, Ian wasn't added. Okay, 5. Wow, he's got a huge gash.
I never thought it would be as satisfying to see
Hold on. Other trees are static to the gust of wind coming from the helicopter. I mean, it's Minecraft. What do you expect?
an Ultima go on a rampage a second time. But
And there's the hint that he was there the first time. We'll get to discussing the first time after this. Because obviously that's a future episode.
Grandfather, he had to go and get himself killed in
Okay, never mind.
the process. No. Your eyes don't affect me.
I mean, he wasn't really trying there, he just kind of opened his eyes, but okay, sure.
You see, I'm a cursed soul. Just like you.
Oh, I've been saying that wrong the whole time. I've been saying we are both cursed souls. Why did I think that was the line? I'm so glad I'm watching these back, my goodness.
You can't do a thing to me. Just like I can't do a thing to you.
I mean, you kind of did.
Keep your anger. Let it control you. They took everything from you.
You took everything from him, and he knows that because, like, I know I said before, like the crowd control thing, that was an amazing power play, and that was the way to actually do that because he objectively, like, he manipulated so the focus would be on him, but he knows, Aaron knows about the whole about what Michael has done and why he's in this predicament. That's why Michael thought that he was trying to attack him. This isn't going to work anymore. Your eyes won't work on the... Actually, you're not wrong. That would have worked. I mean, sure, you know, you can't affect a cursed soul like that, but yeah, a bit of the old chomp chomp, and that's you're done. I mean, what's a cursed soul going to do against, you know, a big old mouthful of teeth? You know what I mean?
They killed everyone you love.
They, huh? Yeah.
Get him in the cage, quickly. We need to transport him to the cannon.
What just happened to his suit? Did you see that? The lighting changed bit by bit. What? Did it not load correctly?
Before he calms down.
Yes, sir.
He looks pretty calm to me right now. I guess before he goes out of the wolf form, I suppose. Yeah, he barely used that sword. Now think about it, that sword he brought along with him only served to cut down a few guards and Blaze. It wasn't even used that much in the final battle because there was a whole werewolf transformation that was being built up to. I mean, granted, Agent R and everyone else wouldn't have known about that, and therefore the sword appearance... Oh, I know, the sword was planted there for him to use in this situation. But again, he barely did. I think it might give him reason to transform if it weren't for Ian. Speaking of. Oh, he's off to train off on the lookout with Kami. Going down Snake Way to meet King Kai.
Is that all you have power left to do? Can't even save just one of your toys.
Hey, be careful what you say there, Michael.
You're out of time, Irene. Everything is over. You're finished. My advice is to run and hide, because I'm going to enjoy every second of hunting you down.
Does he not know about the Irene dimension and where she is right now? I don't know. Eyes won't work, teeth then, and a free meal. The explanation is much like the anomaly to was a plex, so if I'm talking about my series again. Hey, I mentioned the mutant girl before, so don't worry. In fact, oh my goodness, I just realized something. Like, the mutant girl is so old that at some point during the time reviewing season 6, I actually was like reviewing season 6 for the first time as part of it was coming out, and at the end of those videos, I was promoting the mutant girl. I was encouraging people to go check out the videos that existed. The mutant girl and MyStreet have a cross section between the times that they came out. That's how old that series is. I constantly forget about that. Anyway, here they have wolf appendages such as tails and ears, as well as wolf traits and strength. And in my case, they don't have appendages, just the... Sorry, it doesn't all fit on the screen. Just the inside stuff, such as growling, roaring, fighting without weapons, etc. It's such a step away from minor demons. Wait, you saw minor demons? You saw minor demons before you saw MyStreet. Wow, okay. And yes, like I said, the animation is not supposed to have mouths. Now, also, I'm realizing what happened to his cheeks. Is he supposed to have like wrinkles or something to his cheeks? Because I don't know. Oh, KW talked you into it. Oh, well, okay then. Fair enough. And yeah, no, they didn't cease to exist. They just never existed to begin with. In fact, there's actually a blooper video that I watched today again that goes into Ultra Nova, the only Aphmau series with mouths, actually. And that was and that was the one. I forgot what I was gonna say. Forgot what I was gonna say now. Dang it. Oh yeah, and that was that was the time when Aphmau said, "Well, what's a mouth?" Oh right, I forgot about that review. Yeah, Monster Companion is much the same, but my boy is perfect. Oh, what you mean Ulrich? I'm exactly as much of a wolf as I need to be. Thank you very much. That is one strong helicopter. If that breaks out, it's toast. Off into the sunset. Alright. And yep. There's the poster again. Of Aphmau's face like, you better check this out! Oh my goodness! Like, at the end of this depressing episode, which is once again par for the course for this series. I mean, were we expecting anything else? I don't think so. But yeah, deploy the boy. That's what he would have said if Garth was on his own and Caitlyn wasn't there. Garth, take care of the Ultima for me. And actually Garth, because he's on his own, doesn't actually succeed. It's like, well, that's a shame. If only there was a girl. Oh wait, there is. I should have recruited her. I forgot I did the whole experiment thing. Anyway, whatever. I wonder if y'all will stop comparing Niall to Zane now because he growls. I mean, if anything, that just makes him more similar to Aaron than Zane. At least late stage Aaron. If anything, that's like. No, I forgot again what I was going to say. What is wrong with me today? This is a Jacob Butter view. That'll never happen. What, like I never... What, like I don't compare things to other things? Yeah, I've never done that before. Alright. Well, Ghostie, it's safe to say that that my prediction came true here. It turns out this episode was indeed a good one. I mean, it's interesting because like last episode was such a huge shock for everyone, especially considering what happened with Aphmau, and this one could have just as easily just been the fallout of that. Sort of similar to how a lot of the, I guess, big event episodes in MyStreet have played out before, where we had like the Romeo and Juliet play, and then the episode immediately after that was called The Aftermath, that was just all about that. And also about Lucinda and Kawaii-chan's past. You know, you got to have other story in there. But yeah, this time, like the action was upped. Like the animation here, going into like another fight scene, it was a lot more dynamic than last time, where most of the stuff that happened was in slow motion, other than Aaron running away with Aphmau in his arms and Michael laughing in Travis's body before, I guess, he proceeded to transform back into himself. Yeah, I don't know, off screen. But yeah, this time we had a little bit of a werewolf wizard duel versus an Ultima. I would have probably preferred if it went on for a little bit longer, but then again, Ian was only one person, and to be fair to the whole like get that out of here kind of thing, it actually does make sense because it's a giant wolf claw that, you know, coming down on one person who granted would have been fortified, but I feel like what we've had in the past as a comparison is that a person, werewolf or otherwise, fortified under a potion usually only amounts to the strength of the Ultima as a whole, which is why it took Gareth and Caden together to bring him down. I wonder how far back that plan went, because obviously, like, Michael was trying to do the same with Aphmau, but Zach never consented to that. So Aphmau never had that potion on her. It was just Gareth and Caitlin. So if anything, he was probably covering up his tracks as much as possible. And it just so happened that, you know, 2 end up being enough, which was a relief in that case. But yeah, wow. So it does make me think, wow, how far back does this plan actually go? Because I mean, yes, he's been waiting for centuries for this. Like, this precise moment, he's planned out somehow, I guess somehow knowing that Irene would end up reviving the people that she did in the moment that she did. I mean, that's interesting as a whole. And I guess the more that she uses her powers, the more she ends up losing them, and therefore the more emboldened Michael was able to become in this moment. At least that's my reading of it. I mean, yeah, that was like having all these things. I must say, it's incredibly satisfying when, like, even if some outlying events don't end up lining up, if a plan that you've like looked forward to this whole time comes together in such a beautiful way, it is always incredibly satisfying. Which is why it's interesting that the leave I drink for this episode ends up going to Michael. Yeah. Michael and his plan, which has worked even better than he possibly expected, considering the vivid image that, as in Aaron's mind, that I must insist, does not have much basis in reality. Not that's ever like stopped before, because the whole Emmeline thing happened. But, you know, you've seen my VidCon video, you'll know the thoughts about that. If not, check out the Twitch, like I said. Yeah. Yeah, do the rest at the beginning. When Bond says the beginning, what they mean is the beginning of when they joined, but yeah. And the mouse died. Also, okay, Minor Demon doesn't have mouths either. I don't think that's... And it's not what I remember anyway. Maybe they did, just like drawn on mouths. But yeah, MyStreet was always like this. Here's when Aphmau tried to sell me her poster. Oh, if you want to start MyStreet from the beginning, from season 1, Aphmau's history with posters gets a lot weirder than that, I assure you. But hey, I'll drop the playlist. You know, a fellow YouTuber made a playlist about, you know, chronological order of, or I guess the correct order, the correct in quotes order to watch MyStreet. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, what else to talk about? Oh, my comment. I commented on this video again 5 years ago, and I said this is the first episode of MyStreet without Aphmau in it. Like, let us think in this episode ended up being this amazing without the main character, which on one hand is great, but on the other hand is a little bit of a sign, because as soon as, if you remember this, after season 3, they had some like random episodes that could have been a whole separate season if they went down that direction, but they didn't. So season 3.5, and then eventually season 4 was a whole separate thing. And the reason for that was because Jess ended up going through writer's block after season 3, and eventually Jason came in to assist with some of the writing. That's why a lot of the second half of MyStreet feels so different, because it is. It was a different person who came out with that, and a lot of the focus ended up going towards Aaron specifically at this point, rather than to Aphmau. I mean, I guess it could have worked either way if you think about it, because Aphmau's father being a werewolf, that was the excuse for why she was in werewolf class Phoenix Drop High, so it was basis for it. If it turned out that Aphmau's father had been the previous Ultima, rather than the Lycans, who already had, not only were they not called the Lycans yet, I see they were by the end of season 3, but that was not the beginning. Like they were called like the Lemitzes or something like that. I don't know. You know, even then they had their own personalities and stuff like that. We knew nothing about Aphmau's father. If it turned out that Aphmau's father was the last Ultima, and she had some dormant, latent ability, possibly awoken by potion, from the person who knew her potential as a werewolf as the whole time, namely Ian, which is why he might have paid attention to her in high school that much, if he knew that from beforehand. And Aphmau could have actually done this, but no, it ended up going to Aaron, I guess, and it was sort of feels like it's not a coincidence that it was specifically when Jason started assisting with the writing that Aaron grew his potential to become a main character. Or maybe towards like the tail end of season 3, with the whole Aphmau being so caught up with business and such. But then again, that could have worked either way, because as a love interest, he'd have been turned away by the aftermath of that, even so. But yeah, like now I think about it, that would have been a different way to go about the series. Even if that's if you want to keep the whole Ultimate thing in the first place, which of course I don't think Jess would have come up with to begin with. It's curious now. It's curious actually. Could it be that Jess actually is struggling so much in her mind to come up with something that lives up to season 6, because it no longer feels like what she ended up coming up with? Like, it no longer feels like the show that she originally envisioned, and she was not ever the kind of person who would come up with this stuff normally on her own. I mean, not to say that Jason wouldn't help out in this case, but in her mind, to give that the green light, she would have to feel probably more confident about the direction it would end up going. And yeah, like, Jess is the kind of person who does come up with these random things, these random events in Minecraft and all these like silly characters, not necessarily to this degree or with time, but early MyStreet did feel like that. I mean, I maintain that if MyStreet returned to its roots, it still would be an amazing show. People would still watch it. Dare I say, it might go down better with the audience currently. But yeah, that's probably not going to happen because of the way that the reception of these episodes end up going, with that audience, craving some darker material, based on how much they were growing at the time. It probably doesn't feel that way, which is a shame. It's a loop to end up in. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the situation that Mania found herself in, which is interesting. Now it's gone full circle. I'm comparing MyStreet to Mystic Hills, but with like the first Mystic Hills of those like series, the one that actually concluded and had like 3 seasons, the original one started out as a simple high school drama. Then someone else came along to the series and ended up magnifying the stakes to the point where like it was unrecognizable. The introduction of like the actual mystics came in. It became much more about the hunting of those things, and that persisted throughout the reboots that ended up getting too much rooting, maybe because other than the initial point, there was not much. There wasn't much else to go with with those characters, and so many recycle them and use them for other things as well, except for reading because I haven't got quite back to any other lines. But oh well. I think it's interesting those lessons, and that's the reason, by the way, that that Aiden and I don't try and like step on each other's heels a lot of the time, because that happened with Taming the Bad Boy too, with Aiden coming in and giving so many ideas in the script to a person who's already not that confident as a writer anyway, and just sort of stumbled into the success of that series, to suddenly feel that was no longer in their control. The same thing happened. But yeah, Aiden and I have found the balance. Obviously, whoever ends up pitching the series is in charge of said series and dictates the direction that it goes in. So like the Mutant Girl, there's plenty of ideas that Aiden has pitched over the years that I have rejected. Some of them I have accepted. Fallen Angels, same thing happens. Although admittedly, I don't pitch too many ideas for that myself, but I end up, correcting, or I guess trying to improve and refine some of the ideas that Aiden has, and apply a little bit more of like the philosophy and stuff to it. Actually, I say that, but Helen Moore was my idea. It depends. But we kind of like try to maintain that symbiosis because we've seen the fallout of this. Or at least from my perspective, that's what's happened. Because I've seen that not only from my favorite show, but also behind the scenes with a different show. But yeah, the addition of someone else's ideas muddy the original version. Yeah, unless you're like very careful with it. That's why it's always the responsibility of the person in charge to actually, keep consistent to what they can actually do. Like the head writer needs to be able to do that, because otherwise it ends up being derailed, and eventually they feel like they can't live up to it. So yeah, now I think about it, like this is, like I said, a great episode of this series, but it stands out to me. It's like it doesn't. It proves to me that MyStreet doesn't need Aphmau in every episode in order to work, which is already true to begin with. Sometimes Aphmau got roped into the stories because plot, quite frankly. But it also solidifies that MyStreet would end up going a direction where even itself couldn't compare. Like, it's a good direction for something, but potentially some of these ideas probably should have gone to a different show, honestly. Emerald's Secret could have been a different show altogether. It could have been about a group of 4 random people that end up, being in charge of a lodge that ties into one of their families. And one of the families, like, he already like has a secret, that person, or she, or they, you never know. And just go in that direction. That could have been something else. Which would have been a shame, actually, because then MyStreet wouldn't have had a conclusion to it in that similar way. A lot of people were hoping for Aphmau and Aaron to get married at some point. But hey, it would have been a way to tie that up. Although I guess MyStreet by that point would have faded away into obscurity for a lot of people because they were replaced by this new thing. But because it was always kind of its fate, it could MyStreet could have finished in season 1 or even season 2. It was written to sort of conclude some way but then fan demand ended up increasing to actually keep it going. There's lots of factors to consider here. I wonder. But yeah, I gotta think. If I ended up watching if it ended up being a different series, would I have I would have kept on watching because I was still a huge fan of Aphmau, but would I have held my students as high regard as I do still? Probably yes, because that is up more my speed. I don't even know. And there's still things drop high to consider as well. There's a lot of huge elements to consider with this. But yeah, I think we can leave it here. It's safe to say, unless Aiden shows up in the last couple of minutes, which is on brand for him, quite honestly. I'm expecting the beep to go down this corner of the screen any moment now. But I think now it is time to conclude. And I checked the last episode, and so to everyone watching this right now, hey, I have a series called The Mutant Girl, which is as old enough to have a cross-section with MyStreet. Go check it out. But no, really, what to do for next time is the next stream on Twitch specifically for this MyStreet 5 Years Later will be on November the 4th for episode 10. Or maybe not. Maybe I will do some before that or in between, because I kind of think I should cover the fall festival that I kind of neglected a long time ago. There's things I forgot to cover with MyStreet 5 Years Later that could have technically fallen under the umbrella, but were either non-canon or I just forgot when they started. So I could potentially do that like if it's side stories and just have it be the same date. But the next fixed stream will be November 4th, same time, same place, 5 years later. Until then, please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters, and subscribe to us already. And on that note, until next time, I'm off to write a Rachel's Alive theory, and farewell.